I think it's an obligation.
And you want me to start?
Am I going to stand by you or sit down?
Whatever you want. Okay, I think there's still someone out there. Okay. I'm gonna do this so that you can all hear me. There's a couple more people that I think are thinking about coming in here. So I'll wait a very short time before we start. I guess I could start. Shall I start?
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. I want to welcome you to this celebration of life for Don Mayer. I am Ann Mayer. I am a niece-in-law and to Uncle Don. He's Uncle Don to me. I also work at this church, so I would like to begin with our usual welcome at any service here. So, we affirm that God loves all, and so we welcome you, no matter who you are. We welcome you if you are gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer or questioning, binary or non-binary. We welcome you even if you don't know what these terms mean. We welcome you if you're someone who's lived in this area all your life or if you've moved here recently. If you've been in the U.S. forever or if you are brand new to the country. We welcome you if you are a homebody or if you're really itching to go to Disneyland again. You are welcome here. So to celebrate Uncle Don's life, we'll be sharing stories, remembrances, tributes, accolades, and maybe an occasional tease. So I would like to invite my husband Steve to begin.
You're good. I'm Steve Mayer. Uncle Don was my uncle, as you might have figured out. It is interesting, as Ann says, we're going to do tribute and teases and things. It's been a while since I've been around you folks. Maybe more than an occasional tease. Maybe non-stop tease from now until we finish might be the way to do it. David, when the folks walked in and the first thing you started doing was pounding them on the head, and I was like, I know that. I know where you learned that. You learned it from my Uncle Don. That's how I know the man that we are here to celebrate today and to honor. You may know him by a different name: Dad, brother, Donnie for some of you from back in the day, Donald Roy for at least one of you, Papa. For me, Uncle Don. He was born on February 10th, 1943, and I remind you that even here in the Pacific Northwest, that was in the middle of World War II. He died on February 9th, 2022. In the weeks since his passing, I've had a lot of time to think about Uncle Don, his life, my relationship with him, and the relationship he's had with all of you. Many words can describe Uncle Don: kind, loving, caring, giving, tender, generous. Some of those are even true. Also, tenacious, tough, ornery. When I wrote that, I wrote a thing that said maybe his favorite, but then I thought maybe stubborn might be in there with a favorite too. For each and every word that can describe him, in my reflection, it seems like there was always another side. He might seem on the surface simple. He might even describe himself that way. It's true, I suppose, but also very complicated. Lots of what I would call paradox or dichotomy or the other side of the coin with Uncle Don. I shared with you some words that I thought might describe him, made a whole list of words, And then I had to stop for a moment that I might pause right here and ask you all for the words that might describe him. You know, maybe even create one of those word cloud things and display it and everything. And then I remembered who you were and I thought better of that idea. This morning at 4:12, I was awakened. I have no doubt it was Uncle Don waking me. Actually, I have a lot about that and a lot of theological questions, but it doesn't help the story. So in any event, let's assume that he woke me up and I had to change the vast majority of what I was going to say. Because I think the words that he would use to describe him, and for the record, he's dead, I can say what I want. But I think that he would describe himself as a family man. More than anything else, a family man. Uncle, brother, dad, papa, brother-in-law, father-in-law, even uncle-in-law, if that's a thing. But a family man. Even his friends from his early days on Yancey Street are more family than friends. By the way, if you get a chance when you look at the pictures and things, make sure you look at his Social Security card that has the Yancey Street address on it. House number 6, I think was the number. The zip code was 6? Yeah. Even a better story. He was absolutely devoted to his family through goods and bad and through up and down. Always devoted to his family. We should be clear there were a lot of ups, and we should be clear there were a lot of downs. Originally, I thought I'd give a brief summary of his growing up. Tell a little bit about his tumultuous early childhood years, maybe transition to his tumultuous teen years, talk about his wild 20s. You thought I was going to say tumultuous, right? I think of after he married Aunt Sandy, or the stories I know of that, and the stability she brought into his life. And I think about the transition since that time, 25 years ago, this coming October. And I think about his tumultuous 60s and 70s decade. And so I decided not to do a recap after all. I just want to tell you some stories about the man I knew. You'll have a chance to tell your own stories in a little bit, and I hope you feel moved to do so. So when I think of Uncle Don, I think of gifts. I think of his love language as gifts. Are you familiar with love languages? The way in which we really receive love and give love. And for some people, it may be acts of service. For some people, it may be gifts. For some, maybe it be quality time. There's all different kinds of love languages. I think of one of his main ones as gifts. He loved to give gifts, but he loved to get them too. Maybe even more. Or at least that's what he'd have you think. I have many recollections of my birthdays. Usually served with my older cousin David, of Uncle Don going around saying, "Where's mine?" Or, just simply taking from me whatever I had just gotten. I also remember when we used to go in high school and we played basketball together on Friday nights and things, and I drive over there from way out here in Federal Way to way out to White Center. He'd pass me gas money. He'd say, "Here's some money for gas." And then give me enough money for gas money at today's prices. I mean, almost. It was kind of nice. Uncle Don had an old 1974 F-100 pickup truck. And for those of you unfamiliar with the concept, not an F-150, that was before that, an F-100. Had a great big canopy on the back, 3 on the tree. It was great. I loved that truck. And my dad used to borrow it, and I thought it was great. So when he decided to sell it, he called me and asked if I wanted to buy it. More specifically, my dad and mom were at dinner with Uncle Don and Aunt Sandy, and my dad called and said, Uncle Don says you have to buy his truck. I was newly married, low on funds, and said, oh, thanks, I'd love it. You know I love that truck, but we can't afford it right now. He told me I was going to buy it, told me how much I was going to pay for it. It was significantly below any market value that you have, and said, sell your other, I had this little Datsun, sell this little truck and get a real truck. So we did. He also shared his time. He worked on many projects with my dad at our house, from re-roofing to remodeling the bathroom, to tearing out a wall in my bedroom to make a bigger main bedroom for my parents. Always giving. As I was re-talking about this, I don't know if you know this story, but I shared with Ann that, earlier this morning that one of the things that he did was he helped when I was in Cub Scouts, Webelos maybe, one of those things. And we had the Boxcar Derby. Y'all familiar with the Boxcar Derby? Pinewood Derby, I guess is what it was. And he helped me fix my car. So we had this car and it wasn't great, and we went over to his house. That was when he just had the workshop. I don't think the downstairs was completely finished. There wasn't the basement, you know, where the kind of family room that you all hung out and everything. That wasn't there. It was just sort of a workshop kind of a place. He got out his welder or whatever thing and melted a piece of lead and stuck it in there for us and helped us all out, and I won. This is when you all applaud or say yay or congratulations or, okay, yeah. I wasn't sure about that story either, but I wanted to tell it because I wasn't sure you knew, and it's one of the just always, I think they were, the three of them, my dad, Uncle Don, and Annie Glory, were just tight and stayed tight forever. One of my other favorite Uncle Don stories is when Costco first opened, 1983. It was a new concept at the time, and the very first Costco store ever was in South Seattle. Now, if you look it up, they'll tell you that the first one was somewhere else, but that was a Price Savers, and they merged, and I'm telling you, the first Costco, South Seattle, 1983. So Uncle Don and Aunt Sandy, with Aunt Sandy, the proud and consummate shopper, they were going to go, and they went. And they shopped, and they bought, and they got in line, and they took everything out, and they put on the counter the garage door opener. And Aunt Sandy said, "What's that?" "It's a garage door opener." "Put it back." "We need a garage door opener." "Don, we don't have a garage." "Put it back." "But what if we need it? I can," he was always doing odd jobs for people. "I can use this. It's the best deal ever." "Don, put the garage door opener back." I have no idea if that story is true, but I've been telling that story for 30 years and I don't really care. Those of you who know both of them, you know it's true, or at least believable. Look, life can be complicated and it can be hard. Everything changed and not for the better when Aunt Sandy died after a long fight with breast cancer. It changed again when his daughter Kimmy, died. A parent should never lose a child before them, but it happens and it's hard. No platitudes, no fake words, no anything make it better. It's just hard forever. When you're a devoted family member like Uncle Don, it's devastating. Still, he gave his love as he knew how. He loved his grandchildren to the nth degree. And he did his level best to support them and make sure they knew that. In his teasing, sometimes affectionate, sometimes a little, what's the word I'm looking for, violent way, he lets you know that. And you do. And you always will. When my Uncle Carl died, I shared that he was one of the most influential men in my life. I hope you can see that Uncle Don was too. In fact, Uncle Don, ever the competitor, would make me say that he was more influential. And then he'd hug me or, punch me in the arm. Don't act like he didn't punch you in the arm all the time, DJ. One last thought. A favorite phrase my uncle would always say, a phrase legendary in my family, is, "It'll quit hurting when the pain goes away." Yes. This was usually just after he punched you in the arm. Uncle Don, the pain is gone. May you rest in peace with Dad, Aunt Sandy, Kimmy, and all those who have gone before you. You are a man of faith and a man of love, deep, deep love. May your love be remembered by all of us for our lifetimes and what we do and how we remember you. Earlier I said that you get a chance to share. I hope you take that chance now. It is the stories that we tell, it is the memories that we have that carry on someone's legacy. Plus, he would want you to tell stories about him. He didn't always get what he wanted. And again, well, with him being, not living right now, he won't really know, maybe, unless you think he will. But we will, and we'd love to hear your stories. Just because of the logistics of it, I know sometimes people are uncomfortable coming forward. If you could come forward, you are welcome when you're up here and doing the thing to take your I was going to call it a mic, your mask off, and share a story or two or three that help us remember the man that we know as Don Mayer. If that is not comfortable for you, I'll ask people to come do that first. If you can't do it, I do have a handheld mic that we can bring to you, but we'd like to invite folks to come forward. Yeah, I thought this was going to happen. In fact, I said to David, David, we've got to line up people in advance who want to say things. And he's like, yeah, I got nobody.
Don was my brother-in-law. He was married to my older sister, Sandy. And he was kind of like a second dad to me. And when I was a teenager, I lived the last 2 years of my high school years with their family. It was mostly filled with laughter. I always remember laughing and teasing. Dave and Kim were like little brother and sister, kind of obnoxious. I have a couple of stories. I have one that was kind of more about my sister, but Dawn was involved. My sister had kind of a sickly pregnancy with Kim, and she lost a lot of weight. After Kim was born, the doctor told her she needed to gain some weight. So she would eat those little baby Snickers everywhere she went. She was also sleepwalking at the time, and she got up one evening and went back to bed, had unwrapped all the little baby Snickers. Dawn wakes up the next morning, and you know what baby Snickers look like when they've come in contact with body heat. And he goes, "What is this?" He had them in his hair, he had them everywhere. And Dawn would always tease, as you know. I had made some cream puffs that were kind of a disaster, and they kind of all collapsed. And he was teasing me about them. He says, "Well, what are we going to do with this?" He starts putting them all over the house. He says, "We could use them as ashtrays." He was really forgetful. There was a couple of times where he'd be looking for his keys, and his keys were in his hand. One time, he left his lunch at home, and had taken to work an ice scraper instead of his lunch. He was quite a character, and he will certainly be missed.
It's clear no one's going to go to the podium, so I will hand this to whoever wants it.
My name is Brad Tate. I don't know how many of you know me, a few for sure. I represent the Yancey Street gang, I guess. Both my parents were Yancey gang members. My mom actually lived across the street from Dick and Don, from the family. Anyway, the thing I remember about Donnie, Uncle Don, is he taught me what cool was. And that's in the 60s, so, you know, I don't know what the cool is now in the 21st century, but back then, cool was the hair like that, like Don wore, and being funny, and smoking a cigarette once in a while, and having a couple drinks, but just being kind. And that's really what I remember, is his kindness and his coolness. He was just cool. Like his brother Dick, I looked up to them both and admired them. They were mentors to me. I don't know. I haven't seen Donnie for a few years, but he's always been in my heart. He's one of those kind of guys that you know him and you'll think of him on and off throughout your life. He's influential, very influential. Anyway, rest in peace, Donnie. Come on, you guys. Thank you.
I just wanted to, well, I'm not family, but it sure felt like it. Don was, he was a really big part of my mom's and my life, and my son and my sister and everybody. It didn't matter really. Don he only seen the good in people. He really, he had an infectious smile. He was always jolly. He might have been going through whatever, sort of, pain and everything else that which was often, but no matter what, he always had a way of being cheerful. And, he was always in a good mood. And, he was like a grandpa to me. My son calls him Grandon, so there's another one. He'll be missed. The world is gonna miss him. There's nobody else like Don. I mean, I don't know anybody else like him. He was one of a kind. May he rest in peace.
Thank you for sharing. We appreciate it. Would you be so kind? You can do it this way.
So I'm Kirsten. I'm my papa's grandkid, and I am the grandkid. Sorry.
We know who was actually favorite.
It's me. My grandfather was not known to be the sharpest tool in the shed, but he was definitely the brightest star in the sky. My grandmother was the wit, and she was the sharp tongue, and it's been said over and over again that if you weren't quick, she was going to get you. And so he was the other half to her. He was the calm, he was the loving, he was the sunshine. And I remember when my grandfather actually offered to take my brother and I for a weekend. He came and picked us up after school, and I had left something in the house, and ran back in with his keys, left them on the table, grabbed everything, and walked back up the house and sat back in the car. And he's like, okay, where are the keys? And I looked down and I realized that they were locked in the house. And so we laughed and sat for hours in his car just waiting for my dad to get off work and let us back in. And I was waiting for an ass whooping. And he just laughed and we had a great time, and that was who he was. He was just happy to spend time with us. He was just happy to be around us, and he will just be very greatly missed. So.
So you want to come back to that, or y'all good? I thought so. He's going to jump in.
Now it's time for the speech from the third favorite grandchild. So everybody's doing loving stories. Let's do a not so loving story. So I was a troublesome child. Would that be a bit lightly? There was one time that he offered to have me spend the night at his place when he was on Alki. And I got, I think, suspended the day I was supposed to go down. And so I was grounded, but he was like, don't worry, I'll take him still, and I'll just put him to work. And so that day, I learned what punishment was. I have never in my life had to wax wood dressers and cabinets. I hate it. I do. And that night I got food poisoning from something. It might have been. It was definitely. It was strategized. I was hoping for the best, and I didn't get it. So all night I was throwing up, and I might have gotten some on the ground. And then the next day I was told to clean it up. And if I had to make any more mess, I would clean it up again with a toothbrush. I'm starting to realize where my dad got it from on cruel and unusual punishment. And now I plan on passing it on to my stepchild, who I have a cleaning toothbrush ready. Rest in peace, Papa. That's all I got. Third favorite grandchild, mic drop.
I don't know what about that story wasn't loving. That's what I was always told.
So I'm Tiffany, Uncle Don's niece, and I came around before all of the grandchildren. I was the favorite before all you all showed up. Just for the record, because I was really cute, because I was way younger than the other cousins, so then you showed up and ruined it all. So, because as soon as that happened, that was all she wrote. I was nowhere to be seen. Uncle Don, for me, the memories I have most are from the years of going over there at Christmas time. And Aunt Sandy, Christmas was a huge deal. But he was very much a part of that deal, right? As soon as you showed up, he was at the door welcoming you, making sure you felt like his house was your house, making sure you had everything you needed, and you just felt love from him. He just exuded love. I didn't have to deal with the discipline stuff, so I can't speak to any of that, but I don't know that side of Uncle Don. It sounds like I'd rather not. So, that was my memories, was the years and years of Christmas and going to their house, and it was just covered in Christmas stuff. The love that came from that place and that space during those years where we would show up and, just be together as a family created these memories that I will never forget, right? And he was so much a part of that. So that's really what I wanted to share. Just that experience provided a lifetime of love and support that I've never really lost. So.
The reason your big sister is the most important person in your life. Your big sister is your best friend, your biggest protector, and your greatest critic at the same time. While she can bring you to tears or drive you mad once in a while, she is still your best and unconditional friend, no matter what.
Yes, it is. There will be more opportunities to share stories. But I don't want to cut anybody off now. There will be, as I said, more opportunities to share stories. And I hope you do that. And I hope you're honest. There is good, there is bad. Dying doesn't make someone a saint, it makes them dead. And whatever you believe in heaven or hell or not, or all those things, what you have is the life the person was with you. You're going to get a chance this afternoon. Kirsty is hosting people at her home. And some of you are looking forward to it because there's snacks, I hear. Yeah, I hear people are going to help with snacks. And so you're welcome over there. If you're not familiar with it, out front where the pictures are, there is a flyer that has a little bit of a eulogy on it and a picture of him. And on one of the sides is an address to that home. Ann and I will also stay here if you want to stay here and can't make it out there and want to share stories. That is lovely. And then we also invite you to remember the family and the stories in the days and weeks to come. It's been a little over the month that he passed, but mourning goes on and grieving goes on in different ways. And when you miss someone, continuing to share those stories, the ups and downs and the truth of that is a value-added experience. I appreciated the chance to hear your stories. I appreciated the chance to share with you. And we'll ask Ann to come back up and close us.
Oops. There it is. All right. I would like to close us in prayer. Eternal God, your love is stronger than death. We trust that you do not willingly grieve or afflict us. Comfort us in our loneliness. Strengthen us in our weakness. Give us courage to face the future unafraid. May healing flow from sorrow. May hope emerge from darkness. And may the memories we have become even more precious, so the past and present become as one in the mystery of your power. And now, may the stillness of God be in your minds, the warmth of God be in your hearts, the Spirit of God energize you, the love of God comfort you, and the wholeness of God surround you forever and ever. Amen. So that's all we have for now.
That's it. We're going to say thanks for coming and sharing your love. And like I said, exit out, and the folks are out there. And if you're in a room, you can go in and try not to punch each other on the shoulders.
If anyone wants to watch this because you don't remember what was said, this has been live streamed, and it will be on the church's YouTube channel for a period of time. You won't actually see the people who were not up here, but it will be on there for you.